Welcome back to Story Time with Granny Apple Smith. Last week, we spoke on the Easter story again about when Mary went to the tomb, but she found the tomb empty and she met the gardener. She thought it was the gardener at first, but it was really Jesus. And this week, I want to tell another story just after Mary's story about when Jesus revealed himself to more of his friends and disciples. So Jesus' followers remembered that he said that he would go to Galilee. And so when the Passover celebrations were ending, they slipped out of Jerusalem among the crowds who were going home. They strolled along the shores of Lake Galilee, feeling the cool, watery breeze, and they remembered the life that they had before Jesus called them. "I'm going fishing," said Simon Peter. "We'll come with you," replied the others, and they pushed the old boat out onto the water and spent the night casting their nets under a bright moon. Each time they pulled the nets up, they were empty. So when dawn came, their heads hung low. "Good morning," called a voice from the shore. "Haven't you caught anything yet?" "No," came the short reply. "Throw the net over the right side of the boat, then you'll find fish." There was something about that voice, so the disciples went ahead and threw the net over the right side of the boat. Then they grabbed the ropes and they heaved. They could not lift the net. It was so full of fish. "It's Jesus," John said. And at that, Simon Peter leapt overboard, swimming and splashing to the figure on the shore. The others inched forward in the boat, towing the heavy net behind them. That sounds like a bit of a funny tale, doesn't it? But the thing is, the disciples didn't know what to do after Jesus had died. They didn't know where to go. So they did what they knew. And most of them were actually fishermen. And so they went to the boat, they went out onto the lake, and they fished. They fished and they wanted to catch fish because they wanted to go back to their old ways. But all night they didn't catch any fish. And I can imagine they were already upset, and they would be even more upset after not catching any fish all night. And then some stranger calls out, "Haven't you caught anything?" Don't you think they would have been even more upset about that? And then the stranger said, "Cast your net on the other side of the boat." Now you'd think that wouldn't make a difference. You'd think that wouldn't matter. But you know what? It was. They caught a lot of fish, and I'm sure it was fish like this. Lots of these fish ready to eat. But that's the thing. Sometimes Jesus asks us to do funny things. It seems really funny and odd to do that it won't make a difference. But it's important that we listen to him, that we listen to his voice, just like we were talking last week about Mary hearing her name and hearing her voice when Jesus called her name. It's important that we do listen to Jesus and listen to what he's asking us to do, and that we're obedient, and that we cast our net on that other side of that boat, even if it doesn't make sense to us at that time. It's important, and you never know what blessing or favor can come after that, just like that big catch of fish. And the disciples couldn't even heave up. But even though they didn't know what was going to happen, they were still obedient, and we need to make sure that we're obedient. Now keep that in mind this week, no matter what you are doing, that you're obedient to Jesus' voice and what he is asking of you. Have a good week.